Hello everyone, it's Crane from Cranary Gardens. In this video, I am going to share with you 10 flower gardening tasks that you can do in late fall. I will share with you some tips on how to maintain your garden to make them look beautiful. I'll share you some tips how to have beautiful flowers for next year, and also some tips that will make your gardening life easier. I will show you a little bit of my garden, what is going on this time of the year too. Okay. And the first task is to cut flowers and store them for drying, like this status that I have blooming in my garden right now. They are such an excellent cut flowers, and also they're very good for drying. They kind of stay like this forever. I also have this yellow billy ball. It's just so cute. I remember last year a florist could not find billy ball on the market, so she reached out to me and pay a lot of money to buy this dry billy ball in winter time. You can also cut celosia, chrysanthemum, amaranth, gomphrena, and dahlias are also good cut flowers for drying too. And there's so many other flowers that you can dry that maybe you're not aware of. So my tip is to just cut it, okay, and dry them, and let's see what happens. That's the best way to learn. And you can also look on internet too, what flowers that bloom this time of the year that can dry, okay? Straw flowers is one of my favorite cut flowers that I use for both drying and for fresh bouquet. And the most amazing part of straw flower is that they are going to stay like this like forever. Okay, and besides straw flowers, I also have this wing everlasting, which is like a little miniature version of straw flowers, and they are just so cute. I use them all the time and I love them so much. I store flowers for drying in my basement because it's dark. You don't want sunlight to get to your flowers because the flowers will lose its color. It will turn like brown or tan or white, instead of keeping the pink, the bright yellow color. Also, my basement is cool. You don't want to store your flowers for drying in a place that is hot because excessive heat can make your flowers brittle. I like to bunch them up like this and make sure that each flowers don't smoosh each other. Because the previous owners of our house, they used this basement as a handyman workshop. So there's a lot of nails on the beams here everywhere. So I take advantage of that to hang my dry flowers. Everybody's house is different and people dry their flower differently depending on the space that they use. Some of them use the clip to attach the flower to the ceiling. Some of them use rope. Some of them use some kind of grill. Just keep in mind that you should hang your flowers upside down so the stem stays straight and the flowers keep the forms of the bloom. And also cool place, dark place, and also make sure that the flower don't smoosh each other because they will lose the shape of the bloom. This is dahlia, and here what happens when you smoosh your flowers. The stem of this bloom kind of smoosh onto the bloom of the middle one, and you can see the middle one flower shape is like bended. Okay, we want them to be round like this. Or when you have flowers like this, maybe separate them and hang them individually. There are so many kinds of flowers that can be stored in winter time, and I am not going to go through them all, but I am going to share with you these 5 flowers that if you are thinking to grow them and to have them bloom next season, to have them perform well next season, you really need to order the seed now and then sow them in winter. The first flower is snapdragon. A lot of people ask me, Crane, how come your snapdragon is so strong? The bloom are so big, it's not so fair. How come my snapdragon are so weak and so short? And that's because I started them in January or February. Then I transplant them outside when the temperature is above 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I let them just, do their own thing in the garden. And then when the temperature is above about 40 degrees, then they will start showing the sign of growth. You really need to have them go through this hard time. And that's because snapdragon really enjoy the combination of long hours of sunlight and the cooler temperature in late spring. And that's when they bloom very strongly and have very long straight stem. The next flower is sweet pea, same thing as snapdragon, except that I start them now because I grow them in my unheated greenhouse, which is a little bit warmer than outside. And when the temperature in winter time goes below 25 degrees Fahrenheit, I protect them with additional cloth on top of them to make sure that they don't die. They will look very sad and unhappy, but that's the goal. We want to train them to be strong. So when the condition is right, they will grow very fast and produce very long and sturdy stem. I just make a video on how to grow sweet pea from seed to bouquets from fall to spring. If you are interested to learn more how to grow sweet pea, you can check out that video. The next flower is Lysianthus. Oh my goodness, these babies, they take forever to germinate. That it takes so long time, and you really need to start them in early January for them to grow very slowly, and then you can transplant them outside in spring. The next flowers is pansy. Either you grow them for your landscape, for your planters, or you grow them for your cut flowers. And note that there are varieties out there that they're going to have very long stem, and you can use them for your little posy or small flower arrangement. Pansy germinate very slow too, but not as slow as Lysianthus. That is ridiculous Lysianthus. You start them in January and then let them do their own thing under the grow light. And then when the temperature is above 25 degrees Fahrenheit, you plant them outside and then you can cut them. And the last flower that I highly recommend, highly suggest you to order them now to sow them in winter time is poppy. You can sow them outside in the snow and then they will sprout in spring and then they will bloom in late spring. Or you can start them inside under grow light and then transplant them when the temperature is above 25 degrees too. Not everybody needs a greenhouse, but to be honest with you, this greenhouse is very handy for us in late fall and in early spring to grow cool flowers. Actually in winter time too. It's quite an investment, but we're so glad that we use our money to build this greenhouse instead of renovating our bathroom or our bedroom, and we just love it so much. Jason moved a lot of tropical plants inside this greenhouse a while ago, but I am here to show you the cool flowers that I am growing inside this greenhouse. Here are the stock flower seedlings that I start them inside and then bring in the greenhouse to harden them off, and I am going to grow them outside in the high tunnel maybe in a few weeks. And here are the perennial flower seedlings that I started about a few weeks ago. And thanks to this greenhouse, I can start my sweet pea in fall instead of in early spring. I transplanted this sweet pea in bigger pots, which will be their forever home. And I have quite a lot of pots here. They will grow very slowly in winter time, and then they will bloom in spring. And I have a few more on this side of the greenhouse. Hello! These tropical plants and palm tree will stay in this greenhouse probably until Christmas. Then we will move them in our basement to overwinter them for I think only 2 or 3 months. And then we will move them back here inside the greenhouse in early spring. We also have mint and strawberries here. It's so nice to still get some fresh mint this time of the year, right? Also the strawberries. And here's the clematis that I just pot them up, and I will place this whole pot inside the greenhouse to protect them in winter time. I have one more here. It looks pretty beat up, but they are totally fine. I got this just $5 from a local garden center. That's why I bought two. The full price is $50, and that will be something that I will talk about in this video later. If you are thinking about building a greenhouse, I would recommend starting looking for a contractor now, then plan and negotiate with them in winter, and then they can work on your greenhouse in early spring. I know that a lot of contractors don't like to take the job in spring and build a greenhouse in summer because summer can be brutal when you build a greenhouse. It can be very, very hot. So I think this is the time that, you can start. So let me show you the flowers that I started in winter time this year and also 2 years ago that are blooming right now in my garden. This is butterfly weed, one of the perennial flowers that I started in winter, and then I let them grow in summer, let them die back in winter, and let them bloom the following year, which is now. They're so cute, and they also support monarch butterfly. This one I started this winter, so they stay small and they're gonna grow bigger next year and bloom next year. And these I started 2 years ago. You can see they're bigger. Here are the lisianthus that I started in January. Although it took them so long to grow and to bloom, but it's so worth it because this time of the year while the other flowers done blooming, they still blooming for me. And here the native rudbeckia that I started in winter 2 years ago. You can start them in summer to have them bloom next season, just like that. But now it's a little too late to do so. Here the carnation that I started in winter, they love cooler temperatures, so they bloom a little bit in spring and they're reblooming now this time. Another cool flowers, feverfew, something that you start in winter time and plant out in early spring when the temperature is above 25 degrees. And the status, same thing as feverfew. You started them in winter and plant them out when the temperature is above 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I love buying from Johnny Seed because they're reliable and they just gave me free shipping again, and they just dropped this new variety of zinnias here. Very beautiful. So I already add that to my cart. And here's my cart. I have some tulips here. And I am going to order these pansies. You see long stem cut flowers variety. And here the status that I am starting in February. And here Snapdragon. I recommend Madame Butterfly Pink. I love them because they are unique, have double petals. People don't even know they are Snapdragon, and they last pretty long, longer than other variety. I have Delphinium here, which is perennial, and I am going to start them in winter to have them grow in summer and bloom next year. Johnny is also having the new variety of lisianthus here, but I am not ordering them because I already have so many seeds. The third flower garden task that you can do in late fall is to add compost to your soil. A lot of people keep asking me, Crane, how come your roses are so healthy? How come your zinnias are bigger than mine? How come your dahlias are so vibrant? How come your sunflowers are so tall? And that's because I keep adding compost in my garden all the time, every time. And I know this is controversial. Some people say you should not add too much compost in your garden because it will build up and it will hurt your plants. But guys, if we are growing cut flowers, there will be never enough nutrient in your soil. I add a lot of compost in my garden in early spring to prepare the flower bed for the plants that are blooming in summer. I add compost in my garden in fall for two reasons. First is to feed my cool flowers like these ranunculus. I technically just sprinkle the compost on top of the flower bed. And when we water this flower bed or whenever it gets rain, the compost will kind of go down into the soil by itself. Because the microorganism will work with this compost in this spot in the garden over winter time, it will help preventing the soil to get too cold. And when the soil gets too cold, it can hurt the roots of our cool flowers. So doing this, we kind of give our babies a little warm hug in winter time, okay? I did the same thing like this in this exactly same spot last year. And I remember in spring, the soil in this spot get very fluffy and very healthy. And my ranunculus, although I made a lot of mistake on them, they survive. You know, this is the magic of compost. Wow, I can't believe I still have bell pepper in November. I still have a little bit of zinnias. That's the flower zinnias. Thai chili peppers. Still some tomatoes. Oh, they look so pretty. My back. Anyway, the second way that I add compost in my garden in late fall is to just add the compost on top of the flower bed, mixing it in with the soil. Doing this, I get a loose soil flower bed with full nutrient for the flowers that I am going to plant out in very early spring. I do this now because who wanna work in the garden when the temperature is like 25 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Fahrenheit, you know, it's gonna be too cold. So I wanna get ready now so I don't have to work in the cold in spring. And doing this, you know, I don't drive myself crazy in spring too. The soil in this garden is very dry because I haven't mulched it. And that is the fourth task that you can do in late fall, is to mulch your flower bed, okay? The microorganism cannot work with the compost if there's no moisture in the soil. And you wanna add the mulch on top of the soil and the compost to give them moisture. These are the leaves that fall from the trees from our garden. And Jason shredded last month. It's free and it works as perfect as the expensive mulch. Let me show you the difference between the flower bed that I mulched last month and the flower bed that I didn't mulch. This is the soil without mulching. You can see it. Very dry. And this is the spot that I mulched. You see it. This is calendula, one of the cool flowers that not supposed to bloom this time of the year, but they're blooming because I protect their roots with the leaf mulch here. You see the soil pretty fluffy. If you live in a colder climate where the winter is very cold, let's say like 0 degrees Fahrenheit, you wanna protect your roses with mulch. Okay, I use this wood chip that Jason got it free from the town. Doing this, we will protect the roots of your beautiful roses in winter time, and they will come back beautifully and healthy in spring. I just can't believe I still have roses blooming in November. Oh, who's that? Hello. This is Desdemona English roses, Lady of Charlotte. And here the talk of the town, pop arts. And my dahlias are still blooming. What the heck? This is golden scepter, one of my favorite. And Wassy Fussy. The heirloom mums are still blooming, and they're so gorgeous. And the fifth task that you can do in your flower garden in late fall is to remove the dead summer annuals, to cut back the herbaceous plants, to deadhead the spent flowers. So technically just clean up your garden, remove anything that looks ugly. Except there are some flowering shrubs, especially the shrubs that bloom in spring. You have to be very careful, because if you cut these shrubs, they will not bloom in spring. And these are something like forsythia, azalea, some spring blooming big leaf hydrangeas. But you know what? Even if I can cut my hydrangea this time of the year, I still would not cut them, okay? Because look at them, they're so pretty. The foliage, the flowers, and in winter time, these flowers will dry. Okay, and then they will gaduk in your garden in winter time, and they will look so pretty. The rule of thumb is that any shrub that doesn't have their stem die back in winter time, you should be very careful about them. If you're not sure, just leave them alone, okay? And here's the peony. They're kind of telling you to cut them back, right? Because they're so dead, look. So dead, so dead. Just cut them. And again, if you're not sure what to cut and what not to cut, you can always wait, okay? And do your own research in winter time, and then you can take care of it in spring, or maybe even next year. Better to be safe. A lot of people like to cut back their herbaceous plants, like peonies, like cornflowers, like echinacea, back to the ground. But I like to leave some stems on the clump like this. So in spring, I know that there is something going on in this spot, and I don't plant the summer annual plants on top of them. Here the sedum autumn joy, although I am not gonna hurt them by cutting them this time of the year, but I'm gonna leave them alone because they're gonna look pretty in winter time. Chalk, come on. Because we are going to cut back a lot of plants and deadhead a lot of plants and cleaning up a lot of garden beds, we are going to have a lot of organic stuff like this. And we are going to make compost, which is the magic of beautiful garden, right? And this is the task number 6 to do in late fall. Here are all the clippings and cuttings from this season. Middle one is the mushroom compost that I bought in spring. And that one is leaf shred. And that one is the compost from, I think from early spring. And this last one is the compost from last fall. Here's my slow compost pile. We just dump everything that is slow to decompose in this pile. Something like Christmas tree, like this big stick, like the logs, you know, and just let them sit here for a couple years. Besides dumping stuff in this compost pile, I don't do anything with it at all. And whenever I want compost, I just remove the top part of it and then I just use the bottom part. So whenever I need a compost, I just come here and then move this thing out. Move this out. Very good compost underneath this big pile. So I'm gonna move the stick to the other side of the pile and then I'm going to use the compost underneath it. All these pots are filled with the compost from this slow compost pile. Can you imagine how much money I have to spend to fill all these pots with good high quality soil like this? There are so many ways to make compost and some of the ways are pretty convoluted, like you have to go through 12 steps. Some of them are very confusing to me, you know, because I'm not a scientist. So I only keep 2 thumbs of rules. I mean 2 rules of thumbs, which are make sure that I have so many kinds of materials, you know, like cutting from so many different kinds of shrubs or flowers. I also add some dry stuff, some fresh stuff, you know, just to create like diversity. And the second rule of thumb is to make sure that I don't put diseased plant or cuttings in the compost pile. But again, I am not go crazy over that. You know, if I inadvertently put diseased plant in my compost pile, I don't think it's going to hurt me that bad, you know, because in the nature, in the wood, in the forest, there are always disease, you know, everywhere, and they drop it on the ground and, you know, it doesn't kill the forest, it doesn't kill other tree. I mean, at least not that bad. So yeah, don't go crazy over that. Sometimes I even put like the clipping or the cuttings of the plants right back in my garden. Okay, and then I put like pine needles, I put leaves, and then I just cover it up. And then winter, the snow, the rain, they will degrade these clipping and cuttings and it will become fertilizer for our beautiful flowers. And the task number 7 that you can do in late fall to create a beautiful garden is to find and buy discounted trees and shrubs from your local garden centers and then plant them in your garden. This time of the year, a lot of garden centers are trying to get rid of these trees and shrubs that they have, because if they have to keep them for next year, they have to find a spot to store them. Can be like the unheated greenhouse to protect them in winter time. Okay, so they tend to encourage people to buy these trees and shrubs so they don't have to go through all that work. So I take advantage of this opportunity to help them and also help myself. So I just, you know, bought a lot of trees and shrubs that I need and then plant them in my garden. If you want to do the same, here's my tips and tricks. First, dig a hole that is 2 times bigger than the size of the pot of that tree and shrub that you are planting. Add some compost at the bottom of the hole, ideally about 1/4 of the size of the hole. You can also add some organic fertilizer, but it's not required. After that, you put the tree and the shrub in that hole and add compost around it. Then fill back with the soil and give it a lot of water. Specifically this time of the year, you want to protect your new shrub or tree with a lot of mulch to make sure that they don't get too cold in winter time. You might want to water your new trees and shrubs about every 2 days in the first 2 weeks. But this time of the year, the temperature is pretty cool, so the plant don't need a lot of water. If you forget to water them, it's totally fine. And plus, they are very cheap. So if they don't make it, it's totally fine too. I mean, now it's not fine, but yeah, just make sure you give them some water until the temperature drop below the freezing point, or 33 degrees Fahrenheit, or 0 degrees Celsius. Okay? The trees and the shrubs here, including the boxwood, I got them 2 years ago at 75% off from a local garden center. This is some kind of Japanese spruce, and the pine cones are so cute. A lot of people ask if this blue spruce is going to get big. The answer is no, because they are shorter dwarf variety. Instead of buying regular holly tree, I intentionally picked this variegated variety because I am going to use that, cut that for my winter arrangement.
Trouble, you best beware. And though deep down, I know I might be headed for teardrops. Now that you got me started, I just can't stop. No.
The next task that you can do in late fall is to plant tulips in our garden.
I can't let you go, baby. I gotta tell you that
Tulips is the easiest cut flowers that you can ever grow in your garden. You can just bury the bulbs in the ground and then cover it back like that. I throw the bulbs in my garden bed right here because I want to create a natural look. Okay, so I will technically bury the bulbs wherever they land. These two land together in the same spot. So I'm gonna just bury them together right here. You can see when we add a lot of compost and mulch on the bed, the soil is very easy to work with. It's like fluffy and soft. The depth of the hole should be 3 times of the size of the tulip bulbs. I like to plant tulips in late fall or early winter because of the global warming. If I plant them too early, like in early fall, they are going to sprout. We don't want that to happen because we want them to sprout in spring. And the temperature has been warm, in fall recently, so this is the perfect time. Also, this time of the year, garden center would put tulip bulbs on sale because they are trying to get rid of them. So this tulip bulb is like 50% off. You can even find online. So I save a lot of money buying the tulip bulbs this time of the year and planting them this time of the year. The only concern of planting tulips in your garden is the animals. Tulips are favorite. They are candy for animals. They like to eat the flowers, eat the leaves. So you want to make sure that you protect them from animals. You can use the animal resistant spray, or you can plant your tulip bulbs in so many different spots in your garden. Don't put all your tulips, don't plant all your tulips in one spot. Let's say there's deer come to my garden and they find tulips in this spot. I still have the other garden bed that I have tulips. You also don't have to water these tulip bulbs at all, as long as the soil in your garden is moist. You can plant daffodil bulbs in your garden this time of the year too, and you just plant them exactly the same way as you plant tulips. But daffodils are deer resistant, animal resistant. Animal don't touch them for some reason, I think because they're poisonous. But the only concern about daffodil is that they don't last in your bouquet as long as tulips. And also, if you don't condition them first, they can kill the other flowers in the same bouquet in the same vase. The tulip bulbs that I just ordered a few days ago has arrived. See, I told you. Every seller wants to sell their tulips as fast as possible because this can expire if it's past winter. And that's why they are giving us big discount, and we should take advantage of this time of the year. I am going to plant these specialty tulip bulbs inside my vegetable garden for two reasons. First, I want to give them additional protection from animals. When the animal want to eat my tulips in my garden, they are likely to find the cheap tulips outside the vegetable garden first, like in the flower border. And this guy will be hugged in and tucked in and hidden inside my vegetable garden. And the second reason is because I don't want to feel guilty to cut them in spring for my flower design. If I plant them in my flower border in the front, I would feel guilty to death to cut them to take away the beauty from my flower border. So that's why I plant them here next to my vegetable. I am starting from digging a big flat hole. Grade the soil on the side and make this hole as flat as possible. I am treating these tulip bulbs like vegetables. I'm gonna come here to harvest them as soon as they're ready. I place them very close to each other to save my growing space. Just make sure that they don't touch each other to give them a little more room to grow and to not fight with each other. And again, the depth of the trench or the hole should be about 3 times of the size of the bulbs, or maybe even 4 times if you want long stem for cut flowers. Now cover them with the soil that we just put aside.
Hey, Mr. Director, anything for
The task number 9 to do in late fall is to dig up your dahlia tubers, store them inside the house over winter, and then next year you plant them out and then you have beautiful dahlias again. Or if you want new variety, you can order them now online, especially if you would like to get the specialty new cut flowers variety. To dig up dahlia tubers in fall, you can just simply wait until the plant start to get blackened by the light frost, okay? Or whenever the plants, dying back, that's when you dig them up. You can gently, carefully dig around the clump of the plant, okay? And then make sure you don't hit the tuber with the spade, and then lift up the tubers and then check out the soil. You can split them apart this time too, or you can wait in spring and then store them inside your house. The perfect temperature for storing dahlia is around 35 degrees Fahrenheit to about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Just make sure that they don't get too cold, okay? That's all. And then just keep waiting, and then next year you plant them out again. If you are ordering dahlia tubers to create beautiful cut flower garden next year and you would like to cut this dahlia and make flower arrangement, I would recommend order the variety that have a lot of petals, as double as possible, because they are going to last in your vase. They are going to last in your flower arrangement longer than the single variety. But you know what? You can order whatever you like, because even the single one lasts like 2 days or 3 days. But if you love them, if you like to see them in your arrangement, it's totally fine too. I just made a video how to grow dahlias from tubers to bouquets, step-by-step complete guide. It is an 1 hour video. Okay, it will show you every single step of the process with full details. If you are new to dahlias, just check out that video, okay? And the last task actually is a tip, is to take one day at a time. You don't have to do all these tasks in one day or in 1 week or in 1 month. As I already mentioned throughout the video, some of them can be done in winter or in spring or even next fall. You don't have to do everything at the same time, okay? A lot of gardeners get burned out, including myself in the past, because we are trying to do all of this. We putting pressure on ourselves. This year I learned something new. I changed my mindset from keep thinking, what do I have to do? Keep comparing my garden to the others. I shift my mindset to what I can do today. Then I just do it until the sunset and then, take a break and then do it again the next day. And here we go. I have completed so many things already, including this video, which is something that I want to do because I want to be helpful. It makes me happy when I see comments saying that my videos make your life easier, make your gardening journey more meaningful. And I would be so honored to be part of it. And thank you so much for spending time with me, and thank you for allowing me to share my experience, share my thoughts and my opinions with you. And I will see you again in the next video. Bye bye, love you all.
One's happy birthday, one's for good luck. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friend. Happy birthday to you. And many. Are you 1? Are you 2? Are you 3? Are you 4? Are you 5? Are you 6? Are you 7? Are you 8? Are you 9? Are you 10? Are you 11? Are you 12? Are you 13?